1. No one can truly save your life except you. The first time you hear this, it can feel harsh, like the world is cold, like you're being pushed to stand alone. But psychologically, this sentence isn't about cutting people out of your life. It's about taking your control back. From childhood, humans are trained to rely on others. We have parents, teachers, systems, society, always telling us what to do and how to think. So our brain learns a pattern automatically. When something goes wrong, we look for someone to help first, instead of asking what we can do ourselves. That's normal. Relying on others uses less energy and feels emotionally safer. The problem is, when we grow up, the world doesn't work that way anymore. Everyone has their own life, their own burdens, fears, and limits. But our brain still runs the old program, waiting for help, waiting for advice, waiting for someone to pull us up. And that's when we start feeling stuck, like life isn't moving, like we're a victim of circumstances. Psychologically, this is about how much control we feel we have over our own life. When we believe our life depends on other people or situations, the brain slips into hopelessness more easily. We get tired faster. We stop taking action because deep down, we don't believe our actions will change anything. But the moment you truly understand this, no matter how much help you get, the one who has to stand up, decide, and face the results is you. Your brain switches modes. From waiting mode to responsibility mode. Responsibility here doesn't mean blaming yourself. It means accepting reality. Your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions are the only things you truly control. Once you get that, you start choosing more carefully who you listen to, which thoughts you believe, whether you act or let things pass. The victim mindset slowly fades, and it gets replaced with something quieter but stronger. At least I can move something. If you understand this early in life, everything feels lighter. You stop waiting for approval from people who don't understand you. You stop tying your hope to other people's words. You stop placing your self-worth in someone else's hands. Rejection hurts less. Because your brain knows now, rejection isn't proof that you're broken, it's just information you can use to adjust direction. Emotionally, people who learn this early recover from failure faster. They don't wait for someone else to comfort them first. They can comfort themselves. They don't need the world to be kind before they keep moving. And this is the real mental skill. Strength doesn't come from never getting hurt. It comes from not abandoning yourself when you do. In the end, this sentence doesn't say, "Don't trust anyone." It just says, "Don't place your entire life on someone else's shoulders." No matter how much they want to help, they can't walk your path for you. But when you're driving your own life, any helping hand becomes support, not a crutch. And that's where life truly starts getting better. 2. Being good at talking doesn't mean being good at thinking. This is more directly connected to self-reliance than many people realize. A lot of us accidentally hand over our life decisions to people who speak well, sound confident, and seem knowledgeable, when in reality, what they're good at might just be communication, not deep or well-rounded thinking. Psychologically, the human brain tends to trust people who speak smoothly, quickly, and with confidence. The brain reads these signals as signs of intelligence and competence. This is an old survival mechanism. It helped humans choose leaders in the past. But the problem is, today's world is full of information and platforms where anyone who talks well can look smart without actually thinking deeply. At the core of this behavior is the listener's insecurity. When we don't trust our own thoughts, we feel relieved when someone else says what we feel, but more clearly than we can. The brain instantly puts that person on a higher level while quietly lowering the value of our own thinking. And that's where it becomes dangerous. If we don't understand that good talkers aren't always good thinkers, we start living by the loudest voice instead of the reasoning that truly fits our life. We follow advice that sounds good but doesn't match our reality. We make decisions based on triggered emotions, not real understanding. On a behavioral level, people who talk a lot but don't think deeply often react fast. They speak before thinking, see problems in straight lines, skip important details, and miss long-term consequences. They may win conversations, but lose at life planning. And if we tie our life choices to people like this, we end up facing the same problems again and again, changing direction constantly, feeling exhausted without knowing why. If this isn't fixed at the root, it slowly gets worse. We lose the ability to think for ourselves and decide for ourselves. We stop trusting our own instincts. We wait for someone else to tell us what to do before we act. The brain gets used to letting others think for us, and that's how we end up living life without actually owning it. Understanding that good talkers aren't always good thinkers makes life better. We start listening more slowly. We stop believing too quickly. We ask ourselves, does what they're saying really fit my life? Have they actually lived this, or are they just good at saying what people want to hear? When we stop being hypnotized by smooth words, we begin to value silence. We see the power of deep thinking. We notice that some people speak very little, but think very carefully. Most importantly, we start respecting our own thoughts more. We allow ourselves to think, to hesitate, to decide slowly so we can decide accurately. In the end, a good life doesn't need more smooth talkers around us. It needs people who can think, especially ourselves. When we stop letting other people's words drive our life, we may walk more slowly, but we walk with stability. And that's where real change begins. 3. Most people aren't thinking about you as much as you think. It sounds a little harsh at first, almost hurtful. But if you really understand it, this truth can be one of the most freeing things in life. Think of it like this. Life is like a big highway. Everyone is driving their own car toward their own destination. Some people are in a rush. Some are lost. Some are scared or anxious. But everyone is gripping their own steering wheel tightly, because if something goes wrong, their car crashes, not yours. When you pass each other on the road, someone might notice your car for a few seconds. Then their eyes go right back to their road. That's real life. The problem is, we often feel like every pair of eyes on the road is watching our car. If we say one wrong word, we think everyone remembers it. If we post something and it gets quiet, we think everyone is judging us. If we fail, we feel like the whole world is watching and criticizing. When in reality, most people are busy with their own fears, insecurities, and problems, just like you. Another way to see it, life is like a big party. Everyone is holding their own plate of food. Some worry their plate might fall. Some worry there won't be enough food. Some are busy wondering how others see them. But in the end, most people are looking down at their own plate. No one has that much time to stare at yours. The reason we think people care so much about us is simple. We live inside our own head all the time. We know every thought, every fear, every mistake we make. So the brain tricks us into believing others see all of that too. But they don't. They see a few seconds of the surface, and then they go back to their own thoughts. Think about when you see someone else mess up. You might think, oh, they messed up. But a few minutes later, you're back to thinking about your own life. That's exactly how others think about us, too. If we don't understand this, we live like we're always on a stage, afraid of people's eyes, afraid of criticism, afraid of not being accepted. We don't dare to speak. We don't dare to try. We don't dare to fail. Because in our head, the audience is full, when in reality, most of the seats are empty. Understanding that most people aren't thinking about you that much makes life feel lighter, like putting down a heavy bag you've been carrying for years. You start doing what you want without waiting for everyone's approval. You become less afraid of failing because you know your failure isn't big news in anyone else's life. It's like a child learning to walk. When the child falls, they cry. But if no one panics, the child gets up and walks again faster. If all the adults panic, the child becomes afraid of falling, even though falling is part of learning to walk. Life works the same way. The more we believe everyone is watching, the more afraid we are to truly live. Once you understand this, you start using your energy better. You stop replaying what others might think, and instead you ask yourself, what do I think about my life? Am I okay with the path I'm on? Relationships get better too. You stop trying to please everyone. You become more genuine. And interestingly, people tend to respect those who don't try to please everyone more than those who try to make everyone happy. In the end, this truth doesn't make you cold or uncaring. It just stops you from tying your entire life to other people's opinions. You can still listen to advice, but you don't let fear of judgment drive your life. At that point, you start living like someone driving their own car. Eyes forward, steady hands on the wheel. You don't keep turning around to see who's watching, because you finally understand everyone else is just as busy driving their own road as you are. 4. Choosing the people you surround yourself with is just as important as choosing a job. That's not an exaggeration at all. If you look at life a little deeper, you'll see this. A job only takes up certain hours of your day, but the people you spend time with affect you almost all day long. Your thoughts, your emotions, your perspective, and your decisions. Think of it this way. A job is a place you go to perform a role, but the people in your life are the environment you're breathing in all the time. You might have a good job and good money, but if you're surrounded by people who look down on you, drain you, or constantly make you feel not good enough, no matter how high your position is, you'll slowly feel exhausted without even realizing why. So exhausted that you start wondering what you're doing all this for. On the other hand, some people have very ordinary jobs, but they're surrounded by people who encourage them, keep them grounded, tell them the truth, and don't pull them down. Those people tend to grow faster, become stronger, and don't break easily when life gets hard. The reason choosing people matters so much is simple. Humans absorb emotions and ways of thinking from those around them, often without noticing. Who you spend time with shapes how you think. Stay around people who complain a lot, and the world starts to feel heavy. Stay around people who blame others, and you slowly stop taking responsibility for your own life. Stay around people who never work on themselves, and your own growth quietly slows down. The scariest part is, it doesn't happen all at once. It seeps in slowly, like water dripping onto stone every day. This is why you need to understand this now. Life is limited. We're careful about our jobs. We're careful about money, but we're often careless about people, even though people shape our life direction more than anything else. Many people stay stuck not because they lack ability, but because they're surrounded by people who keep pulling them back. You may not notice it at first, but ask yourself this. After talking to certain people, do you feel energized or drained? After spending time with them, do you feel motivated to grow, or do you want to escape reality? Those answers don't lie. So, how do you find the right people? You don't need many, you just need to see clearly. A good person here doesn't mean someone who's nice all the time. It means someone who doesn't make you feel smaller, someone who dares to tell you the truth even when you don't want to hear it, someone who isn't jealous of your progress, someone who doesn't make you lower your standards just so they can feel comfortable. You can't judge people by words. You have to look at their actions over time. Watch how they treat people who can't benefit them. Watch how they handle failure. Watch how they talk about others when they're not around. If you want better people in your life, you have to be willing to change some things. Be brave enough to step back from people who drain you. Be brave enough to say no to conversations filled with nothing but complaining, blaming, and negativity. Be brave enough to spend some time alone, to reset your life. It might feel lonely at first, but trust this. The loneliness you choose is better than the exhaustion you didn't choose. When you choose better people, life improves quietly. Your thoughts become clearer. Decisions get easier. You don't have to explain yourself as much. You stop trying to prove your worth to people who don't see it. You start seeing your own potential more clearly because there's less noise. You dare to dream bigger because no one is laughing at you. You recover from mistakes faster because you're not being kicked while you're down. In the end, remember this, a good job gives you income, but good people give you a life. If you can't choose the right job yet, start by choosing the right people, because the people you surround yourself with will decide how far your work and your life can really go.
5. If you work on yourself every day, the world and success will slowly adjust to you. It sounds like something people say to comfort you, but in reality, it's a quiet, slow, and very powerful truth. You see it most clearly when you look through the lens of time, not just hope. Life isn't decided in one day. It's decided by the direction you walk in, over and over, every day. The world doesn't suddenly become kind. Success doesn't come to you because of nice words. It starts to move only when you change yourself so much that the world begins to treat you differently. Think about your teenage years, that time when you didn't really know yourself yet, when comparison was easy and approval from others mattered more than approval from yourself. If during that time you chose to improve yourself little by little, reading more, thinking deeper, practicing small skills consistently, the world wouldn't change right away, you would. A few years later, people who once laughed start asking questions. People who ignored you start paying attention. Not because you explained better, but because you truly changed. This becomes even clearer during hard times. When life falls apart, money disappears, jobs disappear, people disappear, confidence disappears. Most people stop taking care of themselves then. They let go of discipline, let go of effort, let go of structure because it feels like nothing is working anyway. But the people who still choose to work on themselves when the world gives nothing back, those are the people building momentum. During a crisis, self-improvement may not fix everything right away, but it keeps you from breaking even more. It keeps your mind thinking, your heart standing, your discipline alive. And when the crisis passes, the people who kept their standards are usually the first ones the world pulls back up. Not because of luck, but because they're ready. After disappointment, this idea becomes even more powerful. Heartbreak, failure, betrayal, missing a big goal. Many people get stuck asking, "Why me?"
But people who work on themselves every day change the question to, what can I adjust right now? They may still be sad, but they don't stop. They may still be hurting, but they don't use pain as an excuse. And that's when the world starts changing its attitude. New opportunities rarely go to people stuck blaming the past. They move toward people who are moving, even slowly. The reason the world and success slowly adjust to you isn't because the world feels sorry for you. It's because people who improve themselves daily think more clearly, communicate better, make sharper decisions, and take more responsibility for their life. When you change how you think, the world changes how it responds. When you change your behavior, opportunities become easier to reach. People start trusting you more, opportunities start noticing you, and you start seeing options you couldn't see before. So how do you improve yourself every day? The answer isn't to make it heavy, it's to make it consistent. Self-improvement doesn't have to be big. You don't have to get better every single day. You just can't move backward. Some days you read. Some days you think. Some days you stop one bad habit. Some days you simply refuse to give up. The key is this. Don't tie self-improvement to your emotions. Emotions change every day. Life still moves every day. On low-energy days, do less. On hopeless days, do something small. But don't stop. Because the moment you stop, the world stops noticing you too. If you understand this early, life gets better in ways others may not even notice. You stop rushing, stop comparing, stop waiting for praise. You become patient during periods when no one sees your value, because you know time is working for you. In the end, success doesn't usually go to the most talented people. It goes to those who never stop improving themselves when no one is watching. If you don't see results yet, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It just means it's not time yet. And if you keep working on yourself, one day the world will adjust to you, without you having to explain anything at all.